go ahead and kick it off. Hi, I'm Sarah Kristoff. If you don't know me, I'm the Porter lead maintainer. Thank you all for showing up today. It's so nice to see you. Just a reminder that this is a CNCF project, so we do apply or adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. I will be placing it, or Stephen, can you go get it and place it in the chat? Main rules is just please try to not be a jerk. All right, sick. So we are here today to go over the 1.1.0 Porter release, which will be slated for June. And just letting you know, we're opening up a couple of ownership roles, and one of those is release manager. So if you would like to own the June release, please reach out to your Porter maintainers. That's me, Steven, Brian, or Troy. We'd love to have you on there. It's literally just kind of adding a tag, and then it kicks off itself, and then you just have to watch it. And then updating the release docs after you did it with like a couple of bullets of what you experienced. So if you'd like to own that release, let me know. We're also adding a couple of other things like triage lead, where you kind of go in and just triage issues, add labels, and like own like a triage meeting that you kind of create, and then a docs or website ownership role. So you own the docs or the website and you kind of lead that kind of sub team. If you're interested in any of those, please reach out and we'll be adding stuff onto the website and to the contributor file just to announce those different like ownership roles. Before we get to planning, does anyone have anything they want to bring up today? Want to give space to anyone? Cool. I'll take that as a win. So today is kind of like a triage meeting. If there are certain features, issues, or PRs you would like to be added into this 1.1.0 release, please drop them in chat or in Slack, wherever you can, just so I can get eyes on it and then we can discuss it. A lot of us have talked about the SBOM feature. I definitely want to get that in here. But I'm going to go ahead and pull up our issues and also operator team. If there's things in the operator or the relevant issues that you want in this release from the operator, please go get them. Oh, and we got actually new issues too. All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Awesome. So, no, don't tell me this is happening again. Kim, is it not doing it? Oh no, this is last week. Does this work now?
I don't know. Actually, I haven't tested it since last time, but I think it was because of this, the manual adding. I added a comment down here. There's a
Okay.
little issue with the feed.
Oh, did you fix it? Oh no, look at this. Did I mess up the entry? I thought I updated the entry correct. Oh,
you
I didn't
did,
have
but the content that was.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. All right. We'll just add that really quick. Burp, burp. Okay. Okay, we fixed that issue. Gosh darn it. This Atom feed. I know that you fixed it in the I know you fixed it in the GitHub workflow, but it was very annoying. Oh, this is actually a really good issue, which is to add a brew tap for Porter within 1.1.0. Is this anything that, so it's adding like a home brew tap. And oh yeah, he even had a doc on how to do it. I think if you do this, yeah, you submit it to Brew. So you're kind of winning with two projects in one. Is this something that we think someone might have bandwidth to do between now and June or would be interested in doing? And if you're interested in it, go ahead and feel free to put your hand up too, and you can own
What is this exactly?
it. So for Mac, Homebrew is like a package manager. And so this is to add Porter to Brew, so that basically when you want to install Porter, you just do brew install Porter. You get to see
All
that I
right.
uninstalled Porter. It's here. So it just adds like a streamlined way to install Porter on Mac.
Do I need like a Mac to test it, or I can just add it as a package on the?
You might be able to do it on any computer.
Any computer. I can I can start on that one, and especially if you have a document also to look into
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so this issue has linked here. Also, we have an issue on Windows for those of you who have Windows machines on here. Not saying that you do, just came top of mind when you said you didn't have a Mac. One of the issues we were having was that the Porter releases aren't getting signed in a way that Windows feels like they're verified. So we were looking for people who had, experience with Windows or Windows machines, just throwing it out there, to go ahead and just get Porter packages or get Porter releases verified for Windows machines so that people feel like they're trusted. But
So that's
Hmm.
if you're not using WSL, I assume, like you're actually running it on Windows. Because I think like when I use Windows, but I run it in Windows subsystem for Linux, I guess.
Mhm.
So I guess we haven't seen that issue.
I think when
is there-
you run it, oh god.
Well, yeah, when you run it on Windows, is there like a MSI installer or something? How does that get in, or how does that get installed?
I don't super know.
Yeah,
If you go to the, oh god.
So is it like we have to try that on the PowerShell, like
I think it needs to be signed, right?
PowerShell or something? Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
maybe
Yeah,
that-
okay,
yeah.
PowerShell. Okay.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So would you like to own that, Kurt, at all? You don't have to, but you are my Windows guru.
Well, actually, that's what I'm saying. I always use Windows subsystem for Linux, so I don't do that. But I'll take a quick look at it and see if I can see how much work it might be or something, or get a sense of it, and I'll volunteer.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so-
otherwise,
If it
Kurt,
looks-
I
if it
can
looks
take.
like I can-
Yeah. Otherwise, Kurt, I can take both of them, and then you can guide me, like if I get stuck there, like.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that
yeah.
would be great. All right, so I'm
Me
gonna
and
add
Kurt, we both
this.
are from the same team. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. That totally works. All right, neat. All right,
I'm
I will
happy to
add
help
that.
out if folks need help with the brew work. I have a full Mac environment, so feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in looking into that more.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if I can. What is Kurt? What's your GitHub handle?
My GitHub handle?
Yeah.
Mine is me.
Oh, Kurt Shank, just Kurt Shank, or Nirja's is, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
mine
yeah,
is Matra.
go ahead.
Just share mine on the chat with you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You're thinking with your head here. Yeah, just share it in the chat. Steven, Brian, could you go assign that when they share that in the chat, please? You're co-helping this week, so sorry. I appreciate you both a lot. I don't know if David's here. I don't think he is, but I think this is totally doable, and he wants to own this, and he opened an issue, so we're just gonna throw it in the 1.10 because that's just kind of how I'm organizing it. But it looks like he's even added this PR for it in the Mage Files repo, so we're just gonna throw it in there. Cool. Let's keep going.
Sarah,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is something that would be in June, but I'm just mentioning one thing that a feature we'd like to add. And actually, I just noticed that I think there's something related to this already.
Okay.
For intermediate state, you don't get details about when things run, like this mixin started, more detailed step by step. And actually, I think I saw something that was created, if I find it, but that's something we're interested in. We're coming up with a short-term way to do it. It's like tracing. I think it's called tracing. Something
Yeah.
like tracing.
No, I would love something like Carolyn had this.
And maybe that's the issue.
Oh my God,
that I
please.
found. I clicked on the one at the bottom. I don't know if that was the
This
one
one?
I found.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is exactly. Well, it seems like this is similar to what
cool.
we were looking for, some way to trace, the detail step by step.
So
Yeah.
from my understanding, this is like partially implemented. What I say that is like our like context logic in Porter, you'll see that like half of the functions in Porter will take a context and it will add like a tracing span in that function, and like half of them don't. So this is this tracing issue would just be like going and finding those functions that already do not take a context and then starting the tracing span on those. And we can kind of deep dive more into this if
Okay. Yeah, I just thought I'd mention it, but that would be something, because we have a short-term fix and, but maybe we can talk about that later and see if we want to do that in this release or not.
yeah,
Since
it's
we have a
not
short, sorry, yeah.
super hard.
Okay, cool. All right.
It's just I would say it's not hard, it's just annoying, if that makes sense. It's like time consuming because you're just like finding these functions, changing the function signature, seeing what breaks, and then going and like adding like tracing span start, and that's it. It's a lot of that kind of stuff. I also would like this. I think it is a good issue and a good medium-sized project. What should I add? I know we talked about size.
Yeah, I want to understand whether like we'll stick with our short-term way we're going to do this, or if we should do this. So I'll look at this a little bit also, because that's related to whether like how much we could do in June ourselves, depending on if we use this or our short-term fix.
The other thing is, I'm not sure if we want to integrate tracing into the mixins themselves, because so Porter has tracing implemented in it core, but then when it calls mixins, it does that via RPC. And so we would need to figure out how to plumb the mixin tracing into that same trace stack.
Oh, that is very
That's true.
not fun. Yeah. I think just focusing on Porter core itself having like solid tracing. Yeah.
The other thing is so Porter core is where most of the tracing happens anyways, and the mixins are really just a real light wrapper around some CLI anyways. So you can get it, like if you were running the Terraform mixin, you can run the mixin at a debug level and get all the Terraform debug logs that you want, right? Now that's not going to hook into the Jaeger integrations or anything like that, but you will have that as your bundle output execution. But you can also we do have verbosity logs in the mixins themselves, so you can up the verbosity of the standard out logging. And I'm not sure I don't think that makes it into the tracing. I'll have to double check what the mixin logging, how that integrates back into tracing. That might be a whole separate thing though.
I think, yeah, it's gonna be filled with fun. It's a good way to say it. Cool. I think tracing is a good small one to kind of, well, medium one to kind of focus on. Okay, let's keep going. Boop boop. Who's this guy? This is me, and I fixed that. This is a great first issue. This is me, and I'm doing that. Sorry, this is also me triaging my work for the next 3 months too. All right, let's do this. Skip that one. This should be fixed. I commented that. That's awesome. So let me just go ahead and fix the labels here. Oh, there's a bug. Oh, hey, no, go back. Kim, you had a breaking change that I wanted to merge. Could you link me to that PR?
The one with the lending?
I
think it was.
I need to see it. It was like last week.
Fine. Yes.
Okay. So flaky bundle test. So I've had a couple people kind of poke at this before, and I can kind of show it really quick. Basically, we're running a for loop over. Is this the wrong PR? No, it is the right PR. We're running a for loop right here, and we're testing the output that the command is running, and we're trying to make sure that it has this output. This bundle is up to date. What is happening is our cache is getting like miss hits. And when that happens, we aren't getting this. And then this test gets super flaky. It was like we were testing it 10 times, then I went it down to 5 times, and I just commented it out because it kept failing in CI. So this is a good kind of small issue to like work with Porter cache and fix this flake. And it's just in this like integration test here. how do we feel about this test? And like, if anyone would like to take ownership over this task? Or is it low priority?
I can take a look at it at least.
Okay. Do we have a test flag? Which is a bug. It's not really a bug. All right, we'll throw it on. And everyone is encouraged, if you don't want to look at it or work on it, feel free to push back, because we're just trying to plan what June should look like. And then this is for me. I'm assigned to it. Cool. And so I will put that in. S-bomb is going to happen, I swear. And global set of parameters.
Sarah, just to clarify with an SBOM, does
Yeah.
that mean like, let's say I'm creating this bundle and I have a Docker file and it's from some image like Ubuntu or something, and then I have some mixins. So I have a bunch of basically binaries. So is that for all the binaries, like everything in the OS and the mixins and everything?
Right.
Is that what it do?
Yeah, so the SBOM would be built how I have it kind of MVP coded right now. There's like a draft PR somewhere. How I have it coded right now is before you publish, the SBOM is generated off of that final invocation image. So it is anything that is in that bundle that you've specified that SBOM would be generated off of. So that's any Docker containers, that's all of your mixins, plugins, and everything. Like it will contain everything.
That's what I figured, but I just verifying.
Cool.
That's just the invocation image, not the included images you do in the final CNAP.
It will be all images,
Oh.
but it generates like 2 SBOMs right now. Anyways, the code's messy. Don't look at it. We got it working. The problem is that the tool that we're using doesn't have like an exposed, like everything's private, and I wanted it to be like a public, like here's my API that you can like pull into your code. But we're just having to like rip out their code and put it into our code base. So it's been a little messy. Does anyone have opinions on what is being asked here? It would be
consist from many CNAPs.
Is it parameters we're talking about here? Parameter sets?
Well, that's what I would think, right? So maybe they're looking for like a parameter set, and one is like the default global one, and then I can have like parameter sets relying on parameter sets.
This sounds a little bit like the dependencies and interfaces proposal. Like if you can have like we talked about in the past of like having specific IDs for specific classes of parameters or credentials. So you could have, independent of how something is named, have it be applied to different bundles at install time.
Yeah, I think we have actually something similar
Standardization
to this
on some of these things.
in the setup we're doing. We typically have a single YAML file for the configuration of all the bundles we're using, and then we have a small mapping file for each bundle that we can extract this parameter from the YAML file into this parameter set. So we do it at install time.
And this would get rid of that, where we have an interface and well-known identifiers that you could attach to any parameter or credential to do that kind of mapping.
I'm looking for the one that I used, and I'll find it later. There's a note.
I'll take a note to do some digging. It might be in a PEP.
It's tagged for PEP dependencies. There's like an issue on it. I wish I could figure out. I merged this, and so it does work if you turn on V2. Maybe. I don't know if I wrote any tests around it or like how strong the tests are, but there is you can maybe do this, and maybe that would be cool to see if we can get Get more documentation for dependencies v2 and leveraging the bundle interface framework harness, I think is what we called it. But I don't know if anyone uses dependencies v2,
Yeah.
which is kind
And
of the first
maybe maybe this is a smaller scope chunk of dependency functionality that can be done as a precursor to it.
Yeah, no, I think so. A lot of dependencies is already kind of like busted out into its own separate sub issues. Like you saw, like, where's the epic? Not documented. There's just only one epic? Whatever. But most of these are like already tagged, planned. Just everything's really pretty. So all of the work's already planned, is just divvying it out eventually. Okay, cool. This is an interesting Windows issue that is actually pretty important, which is that archive does not work on Windows consistently.
Well, we are using it pretty consistently where it works. I haven't tried the
Really?
whale gap though. I can try the whale gap tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Give it a
I would, if you just want to try it, and then if you're able to even tell us
see if
or
you can
update the
reproduce it.
issue. Yeah. Okay, I'll throw it in. That one's pretty good. Here's another flaky test issue. This is totally fixed. This would be a fun feature, by the way, if anyone's into WASM. Basically the goal was, I think what I wanted to do was to look into the WASM feature for Docker, because we use Docker as our build driver. And so if we were able to like add a flag to Docker that says like run in WASM, that would be really easy to add and bubble up to Porter. The other thing would be add a new build driver for Porter that is WASM. So basically right now at build time, we have a build interface, and that now leverages build kit to build what we're using. I don't know much about WASM to see what we would need to interact with to do this at build time. I would say it is a large issue, but it could be fun. It would probably span multiple releases. Just throwing it out there. If anyone's interested, you can
What's the
chat.
benefit of that, I guess?
The goal right now is that like WASM is super lightweight and it's fast and it's more secure than containers because it's a lower level. I put these all in quotes because it really depends on how you run it. So that's the benefit. Thank you, Kim. Yes, this is the one with the breaking change. We are going to add that to this one. Cool. Signing of Porter bundles is a good medium to large issue. Doesn't need to be done this release, but I'm just kind of letting you know that is a medium to large issue. We do have a POC made for it that we can share. And basically what it does is in your Porter config, you specify a key locally that you would like to use to sign the bundle. And then we use like, I forget what it is that we pull in, but we just ran like some CLI command in Go and like signed the bundle itself.
Probably cosign.
Oh, it was cosign. Thank you. Could not remember for the life of me. This was 6 months ago. This is, and that would be kind of like the MVP, like POC version of this. Ultimately, we would like this to go in and work with like existing secret stores and the secret plugins. But for like just like a basic, like I can sign bundles, it's a command line flag. It ties into whatever you say in your Porter config and it uses that key to sign it. So that's a little bit of like a medium feature, I would say, but definitely doable within like maybe a week or two. If anyone's interested. Also, if not, no big deal.
Yeah, I could be interested in that one. It's fairly important for the use case we are evaluating. So
are you K? No, you're not K.
yeah, KI. C.
Wait, can I not assign? I leave it to the
Yeah,
people
yeah,
in the
we've got to
background.
look into that offline about changing
Okay.
some ownership and
Okay, I'm
team
not
stuff
dude.
to be able to assign. Yeah,
I own
we'll
the
take it
project.
offline. I got some notes around it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Oh, this is a super easy one. Actually, I need to do that today. I'm just gonna assign it to myself. I already talked about it. I sent a thing in. Cool. That's you, Brian. I think this is you, right?
You have in the backlog all the things, I know you were thinking there were documentation improvements you were thinking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
So is
Brian,
that, does this have all, do you have
Yeah,
all?
that
separate
sounds like
licenses?
it's related to what I was seeing when I was trying to fix some links there. Sure.
I'll send
I
that.
need a
Yeah, so
softball to work on.
we have all of these things set up for documentation stuff. We also have, does this have a Google Doc? Yes, cool. I made this Google Doc with other maintainers. I forget if Brian and Steven were there. I know Troy were there. This is what the reorganization of the doc should look like. It's kind of ugly, I know, but it was the best I could figure out how to do. This is like the ideal, like this is what user flows we've thought out. This is just how the website should look. But if you see things under the docs tag, especially the big reorg one, I would be happy to kind of share them. But we have smaller ones like just updating what is Porter, or like things like this. How to reinstall and uninstall bundle, which is that one's actually fixed and probably pretty easy to document. Or documenting like dependencies v2. Oh, this one would be great too. All of these are actually great. And there's a bunch of them. So if Kurt, you want to
Okay,
like kind of
label
go
docs.
through?
Yeah, we'll take a look and see if we'll jump on some of these or not. I'll just put our name on it if we do.
Yeah, and feel free to like DM me and let me know, like, hey, these are the ones we want. I'll add them to the release, and get them taken care of.
Okay,
So for
yes.
each one of so for each one of these, you want a separate doc, or it's like one doc where we want to make sure the section is there for this?
A lot of it is either adding to existing
Okay.
or cleaning up existing, but there is
Mhm.
stuff like like this one is probably a new doc. I don't remember reading that. So a couple of them are net new.
Okay.
But like things like updating the contributing MD. So if you're new to Porter and like this is going to be your first contribution, going through and updating the contributing MD is like such an easy like docs PR as you're just like getting Porter set up and like figuring out your first contribution. So things like that. Things like owning the release and updating the release doc, awesome. But we're not releasing till June, so that doesn't have a lot of like right now impact. But yeah.
But
Some of
we
these
still
we already
want
have too.
Yeah, but we still want to create one release doc also, like for June, like in which we want to document what all we are releasing in June, correct?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're with the GitHub board that we have here, that will kind of just create like this is kind of helping people like take ownership of that release, right? But then we also have I think we have a release guidelines, or somewhere in here, we have like a release guideline. And with that, it's probably out of date. So updating that is a huge, huge thing.
Sure.
When I say a huge thing, it's like huge in that it needs to be done, not huge in that it's a lot of work. You literally just go into here and you create a release. And it's really easy. So it's just putting that into writing.
Okay.
Also like these things, like if anyone's super interested in product marketing and product fit, I'm an engineer. I don't know how to make words sound good. So that's a huge thing that needs to get done. Let's see, where are we at for these? We have a good amount of things. Oh, so I also wanted to bring up, we're halfway through. We're hoping to apply for incubation stage But the thing is that we need more ownership across the Porter project. And so we're at a great time. If you're coming in and you want to own parts of the project, that'd be great. Because the only way we can get more help from the CNCF is if we have more sustained and consistent maintainership. And so if we're able to prove that, then CNCF will help us more and therefore like taking the load off maintainers. So that being said, if you've seen things like what Kim has done, which is just like, I feel like Kim, every like Saturday, you just go find an issue and you go fix it. Things like that is totally what we're looking for. And with that, the more maintainers that we can get, the easier it will be for this project to be maintained. So if you're like, I love docs, docs are life, and then contribute to them, and then you can become a documentation lead, and then you can shape that whole part of the project. Cool.
We'll add folks, Sarah.
Yes.
So we'll have more team members joining like over the like next few weeks. So we'll keep adding them on. Yeah. So I think unfortunately only Kurt and Irja are here today, but we'll add more.
Oh, perfect. I am excited. Yes. And like, look at this meeting. We have so many awesome people. I really appreciate you all being here. So I'm just letting you know, we're aiming for incubation. It's happening. We got adopters. Like the project is looking pretty good. But if you're like, hey, I want to be a part of this and I want to add some sick stuff to my resume, this is how. And I can promise you that it does actually look really sick on your resume. Cool. If you have any questions about that, reach out to me, Steven, Brian, or Troy Connor. We're here to talk about it. Before I continue, are there certain areas of interest that people have of contributing to, like, is it like docs, or is it tests, or is it the Porter operator? Are there certain features that people are looking for or bugs that they'd like to fix within the 1.1.0 release, now that we've kind of gotten talking and warmed up? Also, hello, Troy.
I would
No one
say
has-
from my side,
Mhm.
getting a little bit of traction on the dependency v2 would be great.
Okay.
I know it's not a small one either, right? So, but just showing some progress.
Let's go look at it. There's so many. There should be a main epic for this. Is it this one? Yeah, it is. All right. I think we only care about build right now. Oh yeah, so this is the issue for the other one, which was that we added basically that like this into the cnab.json, so that you can say like, my bundle has this interface and here are all the parameters and like how they all connect to different bundles. That is merged. I think it works. It's kind of scary. I don't know. We need to add documentation around that. This was my next one, Kim, and like I'm happy to like, we can add this onto 1.1.0 and it's a good start to traction, which is during Porter build, we go and we need to resolve, like iterate over each images in each dependent bundles, and then store that. And initially I thought this would be really easy, but it isn't super easy, mainly because of how we resolve images. It's either like you code it in an ugly way, or you have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. Oh yeah, so that would be great. So I'm gonna add this, Kim, to our like traction on dependencies. Kim, really quick, is there anything in here other than that you would even like to like poke at?
So what do I mean in here in this epic or
yeah, in this epic? I'll even, instead of just putting you on the spot, I'm just gonna share this and like go ahead and click through it. And if there's
I've probably already looked at them, so
oh, okay.
but yeah, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, no, and we'll just try to go through build because like I don't think we can make traction on workflows is hard. Document advanced dependencies is definitely something we need in documentation. Someone to go try and test dependencies v2. And we have very loose documentation on dependencies. Like this is all we have for the feature. And I know it's not huge, but someone to go even like write a blog post of like, here's my like test dependencies v2. I used MySQL and WordPress a bundle and I had them depend on each other. And I used the dependency document interface. This is something I'd be happy to jump on calls with people to kind of go over and talk about the code and issues. And this was like a failing on my part when I implemented it. I just did not think about docs. I'm not seeing, oh, this is for resolve. Yeah, wow. She already laid all of it out. But yes, I would love an example doc. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else you can really grab. You could try lint, but I would just stick on build. Okay.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of dependencies between everything, of course. So, but I have looked at them, and I actually have proof of concept. I haven't pushed it yet, but I cannot remember exactly what it was. But I will do that soon.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. We have a couple of old PRs that if someone who's much better at Go and has more bandwidth than I do, actually, you know what? They're probably out of date, so don't do that. I was gonna say we had a.
Yeah, I
Oh,
actually
God.
have one from the pre. What was it? Pre. Oh, it's there if you scroll down a bit in the pull request. That is actually an open one. But the one of Carolyn's old ones that I adapted a little.
Oh, were you already thinking about the one I was thinking about? What did she implement? I forget. Generics?
Yeah, there were two, but I think there was pre-gen run from run. It was not generics. It was something with something. I cannot remember. It should be there somewhere already, but I will see if I can find it. That's not
Okay.
just
Zal, I touched on this before, but if there is any of those, anything under here, from the thing, anything labeled docs, of course, I can go to the thing without label docs. If there's anything under here that you would like to own, a lot of these also might be duplicates. So we could even have like a sub documentation triage meeting, if anyone would like that. And we can just kind of delete anything that's like this, or kind of prune it and look through it. There's just like a lot as far as docs that we kind of have done, and a lot that we want to get done. So any PRs, even typo PRs, are welcome.
With the docs, it would be nice to have maybe somebody who has some experience with maintaining Hugo docs that understands like how do you maintain a large document base and not break links every time you do something in there, because it was in a really rough state and we had to go through and manually fix a bunch of links that I don't want to have to go back and do again. So it definitely be good to have somebody who has experience working in Hugo and maintaining, you know, a document system. Take a look at that.
I'm worried we might have broke this. So this is a breaking change. I need to double check that I didn't merge this on accident. How we've done like a bunch of updates between now and April of 2023 where I've update dependencies. So we need to make sure that see what version of this we're on. That being said, if someone would like to try and own this, it's just updating the Go container registry and basically with 1.1.0, we're kind of taking it as like there will be some breaking changes in this release. So it is just updating this dependency. Should be a pretty easy update. So I've added it into the 1.1.0. Feel free if you want to just update the Go container registry and its dependencies and see what breaks. That's a good kind of first issue. I hope. Let's see. Operators, assemble. Was there anything on the operator side that you wanted me to tag?
Can you go to it real quick? Because I'm not, besides the,
Yeah.
I think there was an issue that I put out there to get the gRPC server bundled with the port installation. So it's like a twofer, right? You're gonna have to build a new, you have to create a new container that actually has those, create a new container that has all those things in it. But then when you do like the porter install situation, it can actually have that gRPC server bundled with it. So yeah, it's up there. The one,
Which one?
308. That one, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, we'll have to like create a YAML and then we'll create a bundle, right, if you will. that that I did that on purpose. But that actually has everything that Porter already comes with the operator itself, but then the gRPC server as an extra container inside the pod. So when it runs in the container, when it runs in Kubernetes, it will have that stuff and then give you the installation outputs. So that should be 1.1.0.
Okay.
And
Are you owning that, or do you want someone to help you own it?
I was actually going to try to figure out the logic that's part of this same situation that we're discussing with the deletion and the update.
Okay.
So
That's all you.
this could be like a space for somebody who's not familiar with the operator to like explore and then like see some of the and then you know, we can have discussions around it, because I don't want to be the only one doing it, because then no one else will know how to do it, right?
Fair. So maybe that's a good, if you're trying to like learn more about the operator and you want to start contributing to the operator, just so those who are new here, hi. The Porter operator is our Kubernetes native way of using Porter within your Kubernetes cluster. So if you want to get into the Kubernetes, this is the way to kind of break into that. And just again, clarifying that our operator focused leads is a good way to say it. Is Troy, is Stephen, and is Brian, because they have maintained it. I think Troy, or I think Stephen and Brian, you guys wrote most of it from scratch. So, okay,
We took a
Carolyn did it all.
PLC and made it more functional.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think
Troy's been
that's-
leading the charge lately for sure, though, and
Yeah,
I know I'm definitely getting back into it right now. So
This would be a great first issue for somebody though, because it's, you know, everything's already there. It's just a matter of kind of tying
Really?
the two things together.
Okay, you said it. It's getting the tag now.
yeah, it's tying together existing work and to get it into consolidated deployment.
There's a lot of documentation things that are needed in the operator, because sometimes, honestly, I don't know if we have much order or the
Yeah,
documentation.
the operator docs are probably pretty light at this point.
I
yeah,
don't think
for good reason.
Yeah.
Well,
The less docs you have, the less they can say it. No,
Exactly.
but in all
Yeah.
seriousness,
you're doing it.
right? In all seriousness,
Plausible
it does-
deniability.
right? It does need some like massaging. I think there's like this, so like the crash loop back off stuff, and like I think that was like some publishing issues that we were having, where we were dealing with migrating from ADO's Azure DevOps to GitHub Actions. So I don't know if that still exists. So I'll go back and validate some of these issues if they're, but we are going to be publishing a new version of the operator, right? So maybe we can do some incremental steps before June to then say, this is like, we'll see if this works and if they solve these issues. And then when we finally get to promotion stage to have that 1.1.0 operator version, it will hopefully entail a lot of these things that are frustrating for the users. So yeah, like they were unable to install 1.0, and that might be a publishing thing that we were dealing with. So
I'll go look.
well, yeah. So
I
and
forgot
then
about that.
if we're gonna go to 1.1.0, then we have a lot of runway from where we are at 1.0.0 to do a whole bunch of smaller things, right? Like, so if we fix one issue, we can then make that 1.0.1. And then when we finally get to 1.1.0, I think, which should be targeted for June, hopefully we can have a lot of these things fixed. If not, we can come up with some type of manifest of things we have fixed and, you know, create a release report that kind of represents that. So
Yeah.
that's going to come with some time, of course, because, you know, we're all working and we're all doing other stuff. So again, this is we have actually we're setting up, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, another, not necessarily a triage call, but more focused operator call with the maintainers, or is that correct? Or are we using some of this space to deal with that?
You three are doing that.
Okay.
You can
we'll
see
lead this section of the meeting, maybe moving forward a little bit more.
Yes, I think that's a good way to do it. Instead of having your own like operator call at first, is we'll just cut this meeting in half and we'll just do Porter main, Porter core, and then Porter operator. And so for this point, is this, as far as I understand, as far as outputs goes, this affects Porter core. This is going to affect, like, it will have upstream changes, is how I would normally say this in meetings. But this is something we are targeting also for 1.1.0. Correct?
Oh yeah, I would say
Okay.
so.
I saw
Sorry,
all
couldn't
three
get
of
up,
you
couldn't
in the
get off
bottom.
mute.
Yeah.
All,
Yeah, I couldn't get
and
off
you
mute.
all looking like, I was like, guys,
Yeah,
guys.
this is the core integration between the two projects, the gRPC server. So
Okay, cool. As far as the rest of what's in here, what about this? Is this something that is a good first issue? If we added more documentation, is it something that you think could go in 1.1.0?
I think this needs to go in 1.1.0.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of broke the deletion flow,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
we need to make sure that that's in line. So
Yeah.
we definitely want.
Yeah,
this.
it's really like focusing on the key CNAB required keywords: install, upgrade, delete, you know, and then bonus points if that makes it easy to incorporate custom action support as well.
What size of issue would you say this is, and like what knowledge is needed? Is this something that you could guide a newer contributor through, or like kind of give me vibes on it? Sell it to me. There you go. That's the word.
I mean, if someone knows Kubernetes pretty well, you know, this is just making sure that the flow of the operator matches what you would expect as a Kubernetes administrator in terms of managing your resources. And then just going in and making that, you know, how the behavior is. So it's not super technical. It's more about like, what do we want this to look like, and what do other projects use, and, you know.
Just having a clear initial discussion around expected behaviors around it. Like it really comes down to like, you know, are we leaving around installation CRDs in a deleted state versus when you're deleting CRDs from that sort of thing, and just kind of honing down the expectations of behavior.
Yeah. Like what would I expect if I was to go and try to delete a namespace, and what would happen to all of the resource definitions in that namespace? What's my expected behavior for that? When I want to recreate an installation I deleted, do I like, you have to match at that point, you have to match what Porter does and how it handles installation versus what the operator or what Kubernetes does as well. So I know that like if you uninstall something in Porter, then you need to reinstall it. So like there's just some I guess some figuring out how Porter works for managing installations and how Kubernetes works for managing resources, and making sure that they're kind of in sync.
Okay. So it sounds like it needs a PEP or at least a design doc.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Let's slate it. It does sound a little bit difficult for newer operator contributors, but if you are Kubernetes mastermind, please come, and like maybe you three could also lead a newer contributor through the logic of this and get them to understanding more of Porter, how Porter core works versus like what we're implementing, and creating a design doc working through those kind of issues. Cool. What about this guy? I did not do that. I feel really bad now.
Unknown phase.
What is the unknown state that it's getting in?
It's back in October.
And what version of the operator are they using? Well, they're using the.
That's October.
Yeah.
Sarah, I can check with him if
Okay.
it is already resolved from him. He also works in our team. Yeah, he may have tried it like a long back, and it may not have worked for him. Yeah.
I was gonna message him. I feel like I thought I messaged him. It might have been just like fever dream. The whole last year and a half is like a blur to me now. I will put this on operator team to kind of just look at and triage. It might be something that we fixed already.
Mhm.
I think this is fixed. Troy, is this fixed? When we run major deploy, it should configure the kube config so that we. I think that's fixed. This would be a great. I wish I had
Just
a repo.
verify.
Yeah. Would anyone
I
like to
can
verify
clarify that.
this?
Yeah, I can clarify that one.
You got it? Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna add it to the thing. Just do it in the next 3 months. And then you can just comment and then we'll close it or we'll keep it open and we'll get it fixed because it
Sure.
shouldn't be too big. So basically all you have to do is Porter has the concept of a different repository, or it doesn't have the concept. It has a different repository for all of our mage targets, which is, if for those who are new here, mage is just make, but you write it on Go.
Mhm.
So this makes things difficult because there is a separate repository that handles all of these targets that we rely on. You have to update this to see the changes upstream into like the operator or the Porter main. So it could be fixed, and if not, it's just as easy as like changing these Go files in here.
Okay, I can check.
Cool. Oh, we're at 5 minutes. Okay, we're gonna call that good enough for a 1.10 release. I do not want to overburden ourselves. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, things they want to work on, things they would like to see next meeting, things they want to do?
I think I'm going to create an issue against the operator, but I would like to see the integration tests being ran against our cluster compatibility matrix as well, because everything we do in the operator when we're developing against it is against a local kind cluster. But then when you start running it in AKS, you realize that there is some CSI requirements that are set up, and this was already popped up once before, and I think I answered the question. But we need to make sure that we're not breaking compatibility with the clusters we say compatible with. And also
we've got that in a private repo of at least the Azure setup to be able to verify
right.
on and everything.
Yeah. So we need to
move that.
to see if we can maybe get some resources for spinning up and doing some integration testing against an AKS. And also if someone wants to look into what does it take to run this in EKS and GKE, right? Because there's going to be different CSI requirements in there as well that we'll have to figure out.
Do you know if CNCF will give us any money for that?
I'll ask CNCF for money. You still have that stuff from Ralph. Go see if that works.
Okay.
Not you, Troy. Steven and Brian should still have. I don't know if you still have that. I'll go
You mean
ask
like,
Ralph
you mean
if we
like to
still have
pay
it.
for the Azure subscription or something like that, Sarah?
He gave us a kube config for an AKS cluster because that's all he could do at that time was give us like a kube config to some subscription.
Yeah, but we
use.
needed a little bit more than that because some of this is doing some config under the hood with some of the storage needs. I remember I think that was a little limiting, but I could double check, and we should do what we can with what we have as well, too. So
let me ask CNCF what we get. I'm sure they have something too.
Yeah,
and
the issue is like the operator is just does not work at all unless you have the proper CSI. And we may want to look into how do we bypass that so we don't have these CSI requirements. But
Okay.
for now, if you don't have that, it just will not work.
Right. Okay. As a reminder, we're looking for release manager. So if in June you want to own the release, come find us, let me know. Be happy to have you written down. If you'd like to own every release, let me know. We're looking for the triage lead, docs, and website leads. On top of that, if you want to write blogs about Porter, be on podcasts about Porter, public speak about Porter, let me know. We will connect you with people in the CNCF. We will connect you people in the community. I'm here as a liaison to leverage you to do things with Porter. So anything I can help with, please message me, let me know. Anyone have any final comments? I don't know if I just said that. I feel like I just did.
It did. There was actually one feature that maybe it could get a bit of TLC.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's a feature request with adding a CLI flag for using the Docker template file as it is, instead of injecting all this horrible hard-coded stuff.
What horrible hard-coded stuff do you not like?
2802 for the issue. It's basically the invocation images we're ending up with have a lot of layers that are duplicating data from the CNAP directory. And Porter, the different mixins are not all acting nice in the build kit setup. So we have a lot of leftovers from package installs and stuff in the invocation images. And having a CLI flag to override whatever Porter wants to do would be a way to get started on perhaps doing some multi-stage builds and optimizing in a nice and easy fashion, at least, without going full Monty on supporting multi-stage builds in the templates.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely reasonable.
Is the end goal there more build kit friendly? Is that what I'm hearing?
Actually, the end goal is getting a slimmer invocation image, which is easier to security scan and keep updated, right? I'm not sure that a CLI flag is really what I want. I could live with a magic marker in the template file, but anyway, some way to circumvent the behavior where you're doing all the adding stuff to the Docker file template.
I'm not sure. I mean, I am interested in slim images, so I'll take an initial look at this. I don't completely follow this specific thing about the CLI flag, but I'll look at this initially and see.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure that it's the CLI flag I want either, but at least some kind of possibility to tell Porter that actually use this template as it is, and we'll make sure that we're doing the right whatever the mixins wants to work right. But just to get an option to actually do something that's really custom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will try to add. I can add a few words to the feature request here, just to show what the issue is that we're seeing when we're doing the stuff, to clarify it a bit, why it makes sense to allow it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll look at it, like I said, in the context of the main goal of how do we have the slimmest images possible, I guess. So
just did a few of crane flattens on the invocation images, and it was like a third of the size. So there's something to gain with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I'll add some notes to this 2802 issue, just to get a bit of more context on it.
Cool. Yeah, that is awesome. And so I will go ahead and I tagged that for the 110 release, just so that it could be there. And
just at least clarify it a bit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So if you could add repro and then like, I don't know, ideal what it would look like, that'd be great. And I'll take care of that. Cool. This was a great meeting. I'm excited for the 110 release. I think we're going to really kick it out of the park, and I feel incubation in our future. I appreciate you all coming and showing up. And if you need anything, you know where to find us, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Fine.